Welcome to the interview room. Muzzy checking in, the time's here. How you all doing? Alright, let's begin. Let's have a chat about the fact that I wanna interview the best fighters in the world, and that's that. Had a lot of guests from everywhere, all across the globe. Fighters tell me about the journeys, training, fighting on the road. It's Muay Thai, get it straight. Here to show respect to great fighters around the world. Ask questions and investigate the lives of great warriors, revered and notorious. Infamous.
In this episode of Muay Thai Interviews, I sit down and chat with Perth fighter Johnny Callaghan. Johnny fights out of Champions Gym under Perth Australia. Johnny's someone I've been watching for the past year or so, and I get really excited because he gets better and better with every fight, and he's always improving. So without further ado, here's our chat. Alrighty, and I'm here with the man, Johnny Callaghan. How are you, buddy?
Good. Not too bad. Just hanging around, doing my thing. How are you today?
I'm good, man. How's your weekend been?
Yeah, weekend's been good. Kind of just went out for Japanese barbecue last night where you had to cook your own food, which was bloody delicious. Apart from that, just keeping things somewhat low-key. Yeah.
Always, mate, always. Now, I've been following you for a little while now because I actually saw a post you put out, or I saw it last year, talking a little bit, you were talking about a bit of a crazy story as to why you sort of started Muay Thai, and you put yourself out there, and I was pretty impressed by it, and ever since I heard that, I sort of paid a bit more attention and sort of started following you, because I always like it when you've got like a bit of a background story about someone. Would you mind sharing with the people why you got into Muay Thai?
Oh, right, yeah. So a few years ago, I got a call from some friends who I hadn't seen in a while, and they were wanting to basically go down to the pub and have a drink. So I was literally washing the dishes at the time, and I was thinking, okay, I can either go see these guys I haven't seen in a while, or I can finish off my house chores and just relax kind of thing. So I ended up going out to hang out with these guys, and basically grabbed a couple of beers, and after we had a couple of beers, we'd gotten some food and we brought it down to the skate park. And when we were eating our dinner at the skate park, we had some people basically approach us and ask us for like some cigarettes. This guy I knew had, and he refused to give them cigarettes, so they've ended up just picking up the packet, and he's gone up to go get the smokes. And as he's gone to get his smokes back, they've just started laying into him. So we've gone up to split up the fight. And as we split up the fight, I look over the shoulder and I see like a group of guys coming up, and they've basically surrounded us. And long story short, because it is a bit of a long story. Like I knew like I had to fight in this particular moment. Like I did have an opportunity to turn around and run, and I did, but as I've turned over and I've seen the guys that I was with, they were just standing there. It was like, okay, well, they must be down to fight kind of thing. So I couldn't be that guy who leaves their friends there to, fend from themselves. So I've come back, and there was literally enough of them to surround us, and it was just me and a couple of mates at the time. And I basically knew that we had to fight. So basically one guy's pulled out like a hatchet and is waving this hatchet around, and the guy that was standing behind me, I knew was going to try and cheap shot me. So I've given ourselves a bit of room, and then we started basically fighting. And the guy that I had actually, whose cigarettes they were, once he had the opportunity to run, he's actually run off, and he's left me and another mate there.
Yep.
And long story short, like the guy who had the hatchet, he's somehow gotten behind me, and he's hit me in the back of the head. And as he's hit me in the back of the head, it kind of like knocked me out. So as I'm falling, I've hit the ground and I've regained consciousness. And as I'm getting to my feet, I've had like these guys just kicking into me. And at the time, I thought I'd only been hit once with it. but as I've gone to the hospital, well, I can't remember. At some point, I've been told that I've been hit like multiple times because they've rushed me down to a medical center, which was around the corner, and there was a doctor, a GP there that was saying that he couldn't help me, that I needed to go to the hospital. So the ladies who had picked me up, because it's a bit of a, sorry, this might be a little bit like up and down, but so when the guys had run off, so the guys who attacked me, just before they had run off, there were these two old ladies that were running up that were screaming, and they've run off, and these two ladies actually were the ones who rushed me to the medical center and then from there to the hospital. And I get down to the hospital, and the doctors, well, the nurses or whatever, they were saying, oh, you need to call your family, you need to let them know what's going on. And I could not have that happen. I did not want my family being told, oh, your son, your family member, your brother is here, like basically dying. So I was like, no, don't tell them. If I die, then you can tell them, but apart from that, I want to be the one who tells them. And basically, I get rushed in and I get like a blood transfusion, and I was pretty close to dying at that point. And so when I actually got out of the hospital, how I told my family, I told them in a way where it pissed them off. It wasn't like I told them in a way where they were more annoyed that it had happened.
Yep.
As opposed to like being upset that so that was that. And one massive lesson I learned from that was that don't back people that aren't ever going to back you, because the guy that I stood up for, he used to always act like this big shot, like, oh, my dad's this and my family's that, and and used to always talk about being a big shot. And I never really questioned it. Like, if somebody wants to say those kind of things, okay, you can say what you want to say. That's all good. But when push came to shove, he just wasn't there. He once he actually had the opportunity to run off, he ran off and was a real bitch about the whole thing. So nobody that I know or associate with really associates with him because of just being an absolute just a bitch about it, So that's another thing that I've learned, is that you can't just listen to what people say. You've got to I personally, I'm a big believer in judging people based on their actions. Like, people will tell you, I'm like this, I'm like that, I'll do this, I'll do that.
Yep.
I don't listen to that. I'll take that to account, but then I'll judge them based on what they actually do as a person, because actions will always speak louder than words. And so that was one of the reasons as to why I've gotten into Muay Thai. Like, I needed more of a direction in life. I needed more discipline rather than just going out and just getting fucked up and just doing silly things. I needed more structure, more discipline, and it seemed to be Muay Thai seemed to be that. And Victoria basically paved that way for me. She was a perfect example for me, and I've loved it ever since. Like, I won't look back.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, thanks for sharing that, because that takes guts. But once I heard that, I thought, man, that's pretty hectic. That's pretty intense. Do you reckon if that event had never have happened, you still would have got into Muay Thai?
It still crossed my mind, because I did a PT session with Vic earlier on, and sport's always been a bit of a thing with me, like always doing something like training, lifting weights or skating, or to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I may have, I may not have. It definitely was a push as to why I did. But Vic and me, we started when we were a lot younger. We started doing Taekwondo, and I quit to play video games because I just loved video games so much when I was younger. I stopped doing Taekwondo to like, cause I was at the time I was playing Zelda and I fucking loved it, man. Like my mum's trying to tell me you need to, go to training. I'm like, no. I'm like getting close to clocking this game kind of thing. Whereas Victoria kind of just continued on. She continued with the training, which is good because which is good. And later down the track it was appealing to me, but I didn't really have that push, like I just got into a groove of life where I was just content where I was, even though it wasn't a great spot, I was just content with it. And it's just, now that I look back on it, I just wish I had to push earlier, but just got to be more proactive about things.
I'm glad you you said you played Zelda, because I don't think the next generation of young fellas coming up would know what that is. I mean, they wouldn't know. They probably wouldn't know what NBA Jam is or Mortal Kombat.
Oh, bro,
Street Fighter.
That's nice. Yeah, no, it sounds like you had a good childhood as well, man. That's great.
It's all right. But I could never really play games for that long. Like I'm sort of one of those people. I'd play for 10, 15 minutes and then I got bored. I'm out of there. I like Mario Kart, but that was about it.
Oh, right, Mario Kart. Yeah, Mario Kart was sick, man. Mario was awesome. No, that's good, though. It's good because some people do get pretty lost playing games, like that becomes their life. And if that's the life they want to live and they're happy doing that, then that's up to them. But at the end of the day, you kind of need to be out there doing more than playing something that's essentially just a virtual thing, It's just, yeah.
100%, mate. And so with that, you started training Muay Thai. Now you're at Champions Gym. You've been at Champions for probably a few years now, but you originally started at the MMA clinic. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. I started off at the MMA clinic, which was run by Ben Vickers, who was a nice guy, a great guy. And I started they're about 5Ks from where I'm staying at the moment, so it was a close alternative, and Vic actually put me onto those guys. And so what had happened was, so I started so I was training there for a couple of years, and then I met Parmon and Whitney at Victoria's wedding over in Bali, and had a good chat with those guys, and it just sounded good, like speaking to Parmon and actually being able to train with Vic, and it sounded like they had a real good thing going. And because I was mainly doing the Muay Thai out of the MMA clinic.
Yep.
And so after speaking to P and Whit, I ended up making the switch and just haven't looked back. It's been good. It's been good. It's a bit more of a drive for me, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. Like I spend each session there at least 2 hours at a time. So. So it turns out to be worth it. Like that little drive extra is, at the end of the day, it's not that much more to add on to what I was doing anyway.
Yeah, especially if you're happy. And was the goal always to, so when you came to Champions, was the goal to fight, or was it just to train and get better?
Oh, wow. Okay, so the original goal was learn how you defend yourself. You need to be able to defend yourself efficiently. That was the first goal.
Yeah.
And it was just like climbing this ladder, man. Like I set out that goal, learn how to defend yourself, and then it was just these little goals in between, like learn how to hook properly, learn how to do this properly, or sweep your coach a couple of times, or just shit like that. And it was just this ladder of climbing, and then eventually it was like, all right, do your inter club, and then eventually have a fight. And it was just climbing this ladder. And now I'm just set in this routine of fucking climbing, and it's been good. But so the initial goal was to learn how to defend yourself, and then eventually it was have a fight. And then so when I left the MMA clinic, I left the clinic with a record of 1-for-1, so 1 win, 1 loss, both to guys from Eccleboom's gym, and made the switch over to Champions with the goal. So my first goal with Champions was, get a better record, and I've done that. Like I haven't lost one with champions just yet. Like it's bound to happen. But yeah, it's been good. Like I've already achieved the goals that I set out for myself with champions, and now the goals are just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, because I first saw you fight last year, end of last year on Evolve, and since then you've come a long way. You seem to be improving drastically with each fight. What do you think is the key to your success in getting better and better? Because often some people you see and they just stagnate or they don't get better.
Yep. So I think how I see it is like really understanding the mechanics. If you can understand the mechanics to the movement. So like that would be one of the first steps, is like understanding the mechanics, how the mechanics work, and then being able to do it. And then being able to play that chess game, like being able to implement that into how you fight, kind of thing. But obviously it's always time, just like anything that you want to get good at is going to take time, thought, dedication. Like you can't just cruise along with something and expect to get good just because you're putting a bit of time. You need to put the thought, the dedication. You need to be a hard critic on yourself, even though some people will say you need to stop being such a hard critic.
Yeah.
But it's how you get better. Like you've got to be able to see where you're going wrong, where you're going right, what you need to change, what you need to improve. You need to be somewhat critiquing it. You can't just be it's hard work. It is hard work, but yeah, it's also an understanding. You need to have an understanding towards things. And if you don't understand something, then study it, then kind of do more research, wrap your head around things. And I think we're living in a day and age now where you can record everything. You can look back at your work, and you have professionals on YouTube where you can learn, and you've just got other areas other platforms where you can learn from other people. And if you can learn from other people from around the world, then good on you. So it's all hard work and thinking about it. You really need to be critical and you really need to practice. It's time. Like, doesn't matter what it is. It could be a trade. It could be a musical instrument. It could be anything. You need to be able to put time into it, and you need to be able to be going in the right direction with how you're learning it and what you're learning.
I think, you're right. And I think one thing I've definitely noticed with your game, because I often like to hear what people say in the corner and stuff, is when I watched you the first time last year on Evolve, I could actually hear Pamon in the corner saying, "Relax, Johnny, relax," because you were a little bit gun-ho. Maybe that might have been jitters or nerves, or you started quite quickly. But then, I've seen you fight a few times since then, and each time you seem to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more comfortable with your surroundings, and you seem to just obviously get better and better with your fights, but you just seem to be a lot more comfortable, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, I think with that the first one that you had caught, I'd actually silly enough, I had like a pre-workout before it, and which is so silly, man. Like, it's so silly because I did further research into like having pre-workout before competing, and it's the worst thing you can do, man. Because say, for example, if it was a 3x3 or a 5x2 or whatever, like by the end of those rounds, I'm going to start like gassing out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just going easy, just kind of seeing what your opponent has to offer, and then coming up with a game plan with what they can do. But I think with that fight, I went in there just not with the right state of mind, and I think I kind of just went guns blazing too early, and which I think is a normal thing with a lot of the first few fights that you have. Hey, but yeah, that fight turned out to be good. I ended up stopping that fight in the second round off a kick cross.
Yeah.
And Yeah, no, that was a good fight. Like, I actually spoke to him after, and he was like, "Oh man, I hate you fucking so much right now." I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Dude, I brought all my friends to watch this, and you made me look like an idiot." It's like, oh well, dude. I told him, I was like, "Man, I trained so hard for this." Like, kind of like, I didn't say, "What do you expect?" But it was just like, dude, I trained fucking hard for this. Like,
Yeah.
So.
You don't train to lose, do you?
Exactly right, man. And you need to go in there thinking, knowing that you have a fucking good chance. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. Since then, you've obviously had a few fights since then. But I think after that, you fought on Roots, and that was your first fight with no pads. How did you find that?
That was good. I was actually that was good. That was really good because it was the first time going over east to compete, and the first and only time that I've gone over east to compete.
Yep.
I was more. The thing that concerned me was just how are my shins going to hold up? How are my shins going to hold up? But it was perfectly fine. Like, I knew when I went into that fight, analyzing his fights, he had a very strong right kick. Like, the right kick was like his main weapon. So I knew I needed to nullify his right kick, and then see how it went from there. And it turned out to be good because as soon as he'd throw the right kick, catch, sweep, and eventually he stopped throwing that right kick and kind of made him box a little bit more, which I don't think was his strong suit. And it turned out to be good. Like, I went in there thinking that I was the underdog, so I trained hard, I ran a lot, I did what I needed to do, and yeah, it was good. It was actually a good trip. It was the second time that I've been to Melbourne, and Melbourne's it's a beautiful city. But no, that was a good fight. That was a good fight.
And I think also the fact that you're a Southpaw fighter can often give orthodox fighters a lot of problems, unless you're in Thailand where 50% of fighters are Southpaw. I think people often find that a little bit frustrating, with that left kick, right check, where they're used to that, that right kick, left check.
Yeah, 100%. No, definitely. Like, I definitely get a lot more training in with orthodox fighters as opposed to Southpaws. But also just having that left kick line up with the liver, knees line up with the liver, like, it's just, it works out good for me. It works out good. Like, I'm blessed to be Southpaw. Hey. But yeah, I do everything left-handed. I hit a bowl left-handed. I kick a bowl left-handed. I prefer my left hand. But it just sucks when I'm buying guitars. Like, I've got to buy left-handed guitars, and there's only such a limited amount that you can buy. Like, I'll walk into a guitar store and like they'll have like 3 left-handed guitars, and they're just like fucking shit ass, like just shitty ass guitars. Like, I have to order them in, and I can't have a good play. Like, I've got to just like, oh yeah, that looks good. Let's have a look at that. But still it works out good to be lefty. But
you're just gonna have to
pros and cons, man. Pros and cons with everything. Hey.
You're just gonna have to do what Jimi Hendrix does and just teach yourself to play a right-handed guitar left-handed.
Yeah, exactly. Hey. Oh wow. When that guy passed away, he in his last days, he was actually seen walking around without his guitar, and people were just like, "Fuck, something's wrong with Jimmy. Like, something's going on. Like, he doesn't have his guitar." And a couple of days later, he's found dead, man. Like, you gotta keep doing what you love doing, otherwise you lose life.
Doing it.
Yeah, exactly right, man.
And also with Champions, you're now a sponsored fighter. So can you tell us, what does that mean exactly?
So being sponsored by Champions, it's like I train for free. So I've got to fight a minimum of 3 times a year, and they kind of just push you. They push you. You've got to take part of some of the group events and that, and basically just commit myself to this club in particular, which is what I was going to do either way. Like, even if I wasn't a sponsored fighter, I'd still be doing exactly the same thing. It's just more fortunate now for me because I don't have to pay for training, which is good. Like, I resigned from my job so I can focus on my studies. So yeah, it really worked out. It worked out really well for me, and I think they've sponsored, since champions have been around. They've sponsored about five fighters. Vic being one, Chris Kilowatt being another, Joe McCoy being another, and there was a couple more, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so it's basically just showing a commitment to the club itself, which I was going to be committed to anyway. Even if I was paying, if I wasn't paying, I was going to be a committed member. But it's good because I have faith in my coaches that they're going to do what's best for me. They're going to try and push me as a fighter, and I'm representing the gym. Like, I'll represent the gym the best I can, and yeah, just take it one day at a time, it's been good so far, man. It's a blessing.
Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, sure. And your sister, obviously, you've mentioned her. She's a big influence. Victoria, she's a state and national champion. What advice does she give you before, during, and after fights? Because I've noticed sometimes she'll corner you.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, Vic's been awesome. She's been such a fucking good guide, man. It's ridiculous. She's a blessing as well. She'll give me advice ranging from like a game plan to dieting to what decisions I should take in regards to taking fights, or yeah, she's just been a positive influence, and I feel like I haven't been as supportive towards her as I would like to be, just because we're on completely different levels, you know. But she cornered for me for the first time in my last fight against Quillan Solkild. I can't pronounce his last name, man. It's got a weird name.
It's very hard.
Yeah, which was at 70 kilos, which is a higher weight class than I usually compete at. And yeah, it was good. It was good having her there, that's for sure. Like, I promised her I was going to make a statement, and I don't know if I made as much of a statement as I would have liked to, but still managed to get my hand raised, lucky enough. Like, it was a close fight. It was a real close fight. Like, but yeah, it was good having her there. I'm definitely keen on having her in my corner for every fight. I've been wanting to have her in my corner since day dot, basically, and that was the first time. And she actually put a bet on as well. She bet with Al Huss, and $50 so they had a $50 bet. Al thought that Quillan was going to win, and Vic thought I was going to win. And apparently she was so confident, she didn't even bring $50. She didn't even bring some money, say if I had lost. I was like, dude, you make a bet, you got to honor it. But still, like, she was confident with it, which I'm glad with that. And yeah, she's actually put another bet on with, so I want to fight Bo Scarlett. So Bo Scarlett actually beat me back in 2017. And there's another $50 bet, but it's like, Vic, you got to stop putting these bets down, because you're giving them more of a motivation to fucking, like, you know. So
that should give you motivation as well.
Yeah, it does. Definitely does. Hey, like, training alongside her is good. She fucks me up, man. Like, those body shots, but yeah, no, it's good. She's been a blessing, 100%.
So you mentioned, because you usually fight at, is it 66 kilos? 60?
Yeah, 66.67.
Yeah, so around 67.
Yeah,
How did you find going up to 70? Did you find did you like that weight, or are you going to drop back down?
To be honest, like, yeah, I'll probably stick to my weight class, man. Quillan was a bit big for me, man. Like, it was just having to close that distance to be able to exchange was just too much. If I went 5-3s with them, it could have easily gone the other way. You know, like, making that cut was a lot easier. Like, I was fucking still eating whatever, not really whatever I wanted, but I was having eggs before going to sleep, and like, just not having to watch my weight as much, which was nice. But when it came crunch time, yeah, I would like to fight people that are the same size as me, basically, you know. But Quillan, he's a good athlete, so he comes from a MMA background, and my money's down on him potentially making the UFC if he plays his cards right, if he trains like he does, like he potentially could make the UFC. Like he hasn't been striking for that long, and he just picked it up fucking quick. You know, like the guy's talented. He's a talented guy. Like he's primarily a grappler, and I've watched him grapple. He's fucking good. He's good on the ground, and yeah, he's definitely a prospect. That's for sure, 100%.
And what other goals and achievements are you looking to accomplish in the sport before it's all said and done?
I want a state title shot. That's for sure. That's for sure. I want to be able to fight for that state title belt. I think Tim Mitchell has it at the moment. There was another person I was going to compete against. I can't really say his name because it's not going down now. But yeah, I would love to just have more fights, just fight more, get a state title shot, go over east. Also potentially once the borders open up, go over to Thailand and compete in Thailand, just rack up those fights and experience. And yeah, just kind of just hone in on my skills, sharpen these weapons I've got. And, you know, because one day I want to be able to pass what I know on to, say, my sons and daughters, or, you know, so yeah, so essentially just get better at the craft, just become more fluent in the craft and get a belt, get strapped up, and see where it goes from there, because that's the current goal, and who knows what the other goals will be after that, because I could get there and set something else, but that's my current goal, and that's what I'm currently focusing on. So just rack up these fights, and it's unfortunate that there aren't that many fight shows going on at the moment, but hence the reason why I want to go to Thailand. But we'll just have to wait and see this pandemic through, and then see where we can go from there, basically.
Yeah, mate, for sure. And you're a man of many talents. You've also got a band going, Bayview Suspect. Tell us about that. Yeah. So my brothers from Bayview. We've been jamming and gigging together for a few years now. It's great, man. They're like some of my best mates. They're great guys. I love playing shows with them, that's for sure. We have some pretty crazy nights together. We play some pretty good shows. We're actually playing a massive show tonight, like a sold out show. I'm trying to get tickets for my friends, but I'm trying to source them out. I can't find any, but yeah, it's good, man. Like we just go up on stage and we just fucking tear up, man. It's basically just another way to let out some energy, let out some steam, like channel that energy, just get rid of it kind of thing. Like it's good, man. Like music's always been a passion of mine. It's been my longest passion, to be honest. And yeah, it's been good, man. Like a few years ago, they asked me if I wanted to front for the band, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I was gonna do that. And just been gigging ever since, and loving it, man. So it's been great. So with that style of music, what do you call that? Like, I wouldn't call it new metal, but do you?
It's like groove metal, man. It's groove a bit metal. Groove metal. I think we'd call it that. Yeah, it's a bit of a thing. Like we're sitting on like an album's worth of material right now, which is it's a full concept album, and the last single we released was based on basically aliens coming to Earth and having to fight aliens, and like it's pretty cool. But yeah, a lot of the material that we produce, it's war based. It's like what's that book? Sun Tzu, The Art of War. We wrote an EP based on that. Like it's a lot of it is conflict based, but we do have some songs about getting out there and giving it your best, and you know, so it's just another hobby of mine that I kind of do, because once I'm off this earth, once I'm gone, the music that I put out there will be out there for a lot longer than what I will be, you know, and it's a genre that we're playing that isn't going to be out there for a long time. Like it's starting to phase out now, but you know, maybe 100 years from now, like it's because everything's going more electronic these days, and so it's cool, man. Like I just love doing our thing with the guys. Like they're all great guys. They're all basically my brothers, and yeah, it's great.
Well, don't laugh at this, but to get me in the mood for our chat, I listened to one of your songs, "Stay Away."
Yeah, my man.
And I liked the bit. I think it's about a minute 20 where you say something like "Do you," and then it's and I've got no idea what you say.
Yeah, but I was spitting. But yeah. It's basically that bit was that bit's hard life, man. That bit's fucking hard life because I'm literally like, yeah, do you, but just spitting, man. Hey, but like, yeah, it takes a lot of energy. I definitely gotta get into the right state of mind to be able to play some of these sets. But yeah, tonight should be good, man. Tonight should be good. It's playing to a sold out crowd, which should be entertaining. It's only a 25-minute set.
Where you playing?
So we're playing at Badlands. Badlands. The event is called Slayfest. So we're on pretty early, which is good, so we can actually catch some of the other bands. There's 3 stages that are going and simultaneously. And that's that single I was telling you about, the one about aliens. Stay Away. It's basically it's cool. It's cool. Like, it's just one of my joys, really. Hey.
Oh, you could have been saying something like, "Would you be kind enough to make me a cucumber and carrot sandwich?" And I still wouldn't have understood.
Yeah, if I could spit that fast enough. Yeah, basically. Yeah, it could have been, man. It could have been. Hey.
Who do you draw your influences from when it comes to your music and your band?
Drawing influences. To be honest, like, I barely even listen to metal. I do listen to a bit of metal here and there. Like, when I was growing up, I used to listen to a shit ton of it. But nowadays, I don't really have. Yeah, it's not really much of an influence. I basically, when we go to write, it's just the boys will set down the rhythm and the leads, and then I'll come in over the top. But
just whatever you feel.
Yeah.
You hear it come together is what you put pen to paper, and that's what comes.
Yeah,
out.
basically, it's being able to kind of gel together. Like, if being able to gel together and complement what they're playing and what they're playing complement what I'm doing. It's just like a unity kind of thing, hey. Which is great. Like, which is good. But yeah, in terms of influences, I don't really have too much influences these days, hey. Like, I love all forms of music.
Yeah, you can't just stick to one.
You can't just stick to one. No, not at all. Like, if an artist is good. Like, it's a lot more complex than just having like one artist, kind of thing. But
so at the moment, or at like this general, you're training, you're fighting, you've got your band, so you've got to practice with the band. Plus, you've got gigs that you're performing, and you're also studying. How do you manage to fit it all in?
Oh man, yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. Like, to be honest, I don't have much of a social life these days. Like, it's very pick and choosy. Like, there's people that I haven't seen in a while, and I know I should be going to see them, but like, I just don't have the time. Like, I study Monday to Friday, 8 hours a day, and then I'll train, or sometimes I'll go jam and then train. So it's really time constrictive, man. Like, I've got to be really cautious with my time. Like, I've got to really pick and choose what I can do on what days. And some days it's like, oh fuck, I can't do the grocery shopping until fucking Wednesday. That's 3 days from now, kind of thing. Like, it's really pick and choose. Like, I can't really sit around and waste time. Like, it's just, I'm at the age in my life where I've got to grind. Like, if I want to chill out, that can come later. Once I'm done doing what I'm doing, and I can chill out. But right now, I need to grind, and that's what I'll keep doing. Like, I'll just grind, and that's another big thing with me. Like, I don't really associate with other people that don't have their grind. Like, if they're not grinding, doing their own thing, it's like, well, what are you doing, man? Like, you're still hanging out with the same people, doing the same shit, just drinking, and that's it. Like, no, man, I'm not about that. Like, I don't care what your grind is. I don't care what it is. Like, as long as you've got a goal, as long as you're doing your thing, I have respect for that. And they're more the people that I will make the time for. Whereas if you're just doing the same old shit, then bro, you can do that. That's all good. Just enjoy.
What are you studying?
So at the moment, I'm doing paramedical science. It's just a diploma, so it's basically to become an emergency service safety officer, emergency services officer.
Yep.
And it's good, man. Like, what we're learning is great. It's like it's great. Like, I was kicking shit for so long, like just working out of a logistics company, like delivering people shit, and it's just, oh man, I know I can physically, and I'm capable of doing a lot more than just delivering people stuff. I want to be able to do something where I'm actually making a little bit more of a difference, like, you know. So doing the paramedical science, it's cool, man. They're teaching us some pretty cool things, and yeah, I'm all for it. Like, the people that I'm studying with, they all seem to be pretty good people, and yeah, I just love it, man. So we'll see how that goes, and yeah, got a lot of assignments due and all that shit, but yeah, just grind away, man. Hey, grind away.
Keep on the grind.
That's it, my dude.
So I know, Pamon has got his promotion. He's bringing his promotion back, Origins.
Yep.
About time. Good on you, Pamon. Thanks for that. Are you fighting on that, or have you got anything else lined up fight-wise this year at the moment, or that you can tell us about?
I potentially had a match for Muay Thai Grand Prix, but
Yep.
I don't think the commission come to terms. They couldn't really agree on it, so
Yep.
that was called off. I know there's a couple of guys on my radar at the moment. There's 3 guys on my radar, and Bo Scarlett being one of them, John Morton being another, Tim Mitchell being another.
Yep.
So one at a time. I want Bo first, but Bo's just had his birthday, and he wants to be able to celebrate and do his thing, so he can do that. So when he's ready, I'm ready. But yeah, it's good that Palmon's bringing Origins back. We've got Joe McCoy fighting for the state title against Eddie Duva.
Yep.
It should be a bit of a cracker of a fight. Joe being a strong, intelligent fighter. It's going to be interesting. He's a very strong guy. Loves his elbows. So yeah, definitely going to be there to support him for that. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. So I want Bo first, and maybe John, and then Tim, or Bo, Tim, then John. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But Tim Mitchell is going to be fighting Leo Nguyen.
Yep.
Yeah, for the 63.5 kilo WBC belt.
BC. I think.
BC, yep. And yeah, that should be a cracker of a fight. It's going to be interesting to see if Tim can make that weight, because speaking to Leo about it, he was saying that Tim's never made that weight before, and Tim's quite a tall boy to be able to for that weight, so it's going to be a hard cut for him. So best of luck to him.
Yep.
May the best man win. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Would you ever drop down to 63.5, or is that a bit too
Muzzy, too unattainable, man. My legs, I've got these fucking tree trunk legs that I'm fucking walking around on. I think 65 would be pushing it. I think I could make 65. It'd be pushing it, man. Hey, so yeah 63.5, probably not, man. Probably not. Like, for a health point of view, I don't want to risk it, man. I'd rather just stick to my weight class, or if I need to, 65, if it's well organized and well prepped and thought of, then it's obtainable, but it wouldn't be easy.
Yeah, wicked, man. Before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your weekend and get ready for your gig tonight, last but not least, anyone that you want to thank or give a shout out to?
Okay, shout-outs. Shout-outs to my coach, Palmon, for always being such a mad dog. The boys from Bayview, Victoria, my sister, Joy McCoy, who's got his fight coming up real soon. And you, man, for being a gracious host, man. It's been great. It's been great.
Nah, wicked, man. Well, I look forward to watching your next fight, whenever that is.
My man.
All right, brother.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Thank you very much for your time, mate. Go and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks a lot. Take care, Monty. Thank you.
To me the history, I had to throw a vicious knee. I got a passion for the art of 8 limbs. I'm just asking from the heart. So as I conclude this interview, thanks so much for sitting through. Loved all the fighters and the folks that listen. This for you.